In August 1939, a letter arrived at the White House. It was signed by the most famous scientist alive, Albert Einstein. The letter warned President Roosevelt that a new kind of bomb was becoming possible. A bomb powered not by chemistry, but by the splitting of the atom itself. And it warned that Nazi Germany might already be building one. Einstein would later call that signature the one great mistake of his life. But in 1939, the fear was real. The race had begun. The American response started slowly, a few $1,000s for uranium research. But by 1942, it had a code name, the Manhattan Project, and a leader, General Leslie Groves, the man who had just built the Pentagon. Groves needed a scientific director, and he made the strangest choice possible. A thin, chain-smoking theoretical physicist with no management experience and a file full of left-wing associations. His name was J. Robert Oppenheimer. It turned out to be the best decision of the entire war. Oppenheimer had two rare gifts. He understood every part of the physics, and he could make brilliant, difficult people work together. He also knew exactly where to hide a secret laboratory, a remote mesa in the New Mexico desert, where he had spent summers as a boy. Los Alamos. What happened next has no parallel in history. An entire secret city rose from the desert in months. Scientists vanished from universities across the country and reappeared behind barbed wire, living under fake names. Their mail was censored. Their driver's licenses had numbers instead of names. Nobel Prize winners were suddenly nobody at all, and Los Alamos was only the tip of the iceberg. In Oak Ridge, Tennessee, 75,000 workers ran massive plants to separate uranium, most of them never knowing what they were making. In Hanford, Washington, reactors the size of buildings bred a brand new element, plutonium. At its peak, the Manhattan Project employed over 500,000 people. Fewer than a few hundred knew its true purpose. The science itself was terrifyingly new. 3 years earlier, in Chicago, Enrico Fermi's team had built the world's first nuclear reactor under a football stadium in complete secrecy, in the middle of a city of 3 million people. When it went critical, humanity crossed a line it could never uncross. We had started a controlled atomic chain reaction, but a bomb is not a reactor. A bomb must release that energy in a millionth of a second. The uranium design was simple enough that they never fully tested it. The plutonium design was another story. It required crushing a sphere of metal with a perfectly timed implosion, 32 detonation points firing within a fraction of a microsecond. Many scientists believed it could not be done, so they decided to test it. In the desert of southern New Mexico, at a site Oppenheimer named Trinity, they mounted the device on a 100-foot steel tower. Some physicists took side bets on whether the atmosphere itself would catch fire. The calculations said no, but the fact that they ran the calculations at all tells you everything about that night. July 16, 1945, 5:29 in the morning. The desert lit up brighter than a dozen suns. The fireball rose 8 miles into the sky. The steel tower did not survive. It vaporized. Watching from the control bunker, Oppenheimer later said that a line from Hindu scripture came to his mind. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The test worked better than predicted, and with Germany already defeated, the weapon built to stop Hitler now had a different destination: Japan. On August 6, 1945, a single B-29 named Enola Gay dropped a uranium bomb on the city of Hiroshima. One bomb, one city. Tens of thousands of people died in the first moments, and tens of thousands more in the months that followed. 3 days later, a plutonium bomb, the same design tested at Trinity, fell on Nagasaki. On August 15th, Japan surrendered. The Second World War was over. The scientists who built the bomb watched the news with a mixture of pride, relief, and horror. Some celebrated. Many could not. Oppenheimer told President Truman that he felt he had blood on his hands. Truman never forgave him for saying it. The Manhattan Project changed more than the war. It invented the modern world's darkest bargain, science funded on an industrial scale, in secret for power. It gave us nuclear medicine, nuclear energy, and a planet where 2 nations could end civilization in an afternoon. The 500,000 people who built it went home, most still not knowing what they had made. And the letter that started it all? Einstein spent his last years campaigning against the very weapons his signature had helped create. He said, "If I had known that the Germans would not succeed in producing an atomic bomb, I would have never lifted a finger." History rarely gives us a cleaner lesson. The most powerful force on Earth is not the atom. It is a small group of people who believe they are in a race they cannot afford to lose. If stories like this one matter to you, subscribe. Next time, we open another archive.